Before I get started with this video, there is something I gotta get off my chest. Now, of course, I did not live tweet during Raw last night, and this is actually the day after Monday Night Raw, the July 28th edition. Now, when I went on Sasha's feed Sasha's thread after her win on Twitter, there were a whole bunch of Becky stans on there talking about how that Sasha wasn't the one that was a dual champion first. Number one, it ain't about that. It's not about that at all. It's not about the fact that she was first. It's about the fact that she's doing it. It's about the fact that she's allowed to do it, and she's doing it now. I have no idea why people are hating on her, especially Becky stans, which makes no sense. But if you really want to go into details, you can probably argue that Paige was the first to do it in the modern era, because she had the NXT Championship as well as the Divas Championship at the same time. You can argue that. You can argue that Paige did it first because she had to relinquish the NXT Championship. You can argue that, but it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what happened last night. It has nothing to do with Sasha's win. It has nothing to do with who did it first. It is because that Becky stans are hating because their girl is not on screen. And your girl isn't on screen because she chose to be a human being. She chose to make a human being and become a mom. And it was probably hard for her to walk away from the business at the top of her game, but she made that choice. Nothing was taken from her. Nothing was stolen from her. She left like a champ. And she chose to give the title to somebody that she believed to make that title really good, to make it look well. She chose Asuka. And yes, she gave the title to Asuka. I don't care what anybody says, but Asuka did earn it. It's kind of both, but that's another video in itself. The thing is that Becky stans got absolutely no reason to be hating on Sasha Banks because their girl ain't there. Your girl did not have the title stolen from her. Your girl did not have, she was not robbed for anything. She chose to leave to be a human being. She chose to leave to be a mom. So get over it. Sasha has the title. She won last night. Your girl ain't there for a whole year. So get over it. Alright. Now let's get to the video and the topic at hand. I'm going to be honest. In 2020, I have not watched a lot of wrestling. I will admit, because of this whole COVID thing, they had to make some changes. And to be honest with you, the changes have been positive. But it's not really so much about that. It's about the win of the leader and Bayley. The two-woman power trip has finally happened. Now, am I upset about that? Not entirely. The one thing that kind of bothers me about that match is the finish. I will say that. But getting into the match itself, we all know that both Asuka and Sasha can go. Those two women can go. What made me happy was the fact that Bayley did not interfere the entire match. She wasn't there the entire match. She was actually being chased out by Kyrie. And I think that that was a good idea. Because we know that Sasha don't need help. Sasha does not need help from anyone. And I know everyone's saying, well, she's a heel. She's got to be... All heels don't have to be cowardly. They don't have to resort to all of these tactics in order to win. Some heels can actually be smart. Yeah, there are desperate heels doing everything they can to keep their title. But in order to get it, they're just as hungry. They can be intelligent. But in this case with this match, I enjoyed it a lot. I really did. Sasha and Asuka went all out. Like they usually do. That match was absolutely fabulous. And the two-woman power trip, the one issue that I had was the match that happened before. For, what was it? The horror show at Extreme Rules. That match that Sasha had with Asuka was not I mean, it was a good match in itself. It was a good match, but it had a very poor finish. I don't care what anyone says. Some people are actually entertained by the buffoonery of that finish, but it was buffoonery nonetheless. The fact that you actually have Bayley putting on a ref shirt, counting 1, 2, 3, and they're taking it seriously, that finish was bad, hence why they did it here. And I think it was far better here at the match on Raw than the pay-per-view. They should have done it in the pay-per-view instead of on Raw. They probably did it for ratings, but the finish at the pay-per-view was bad. But the finish here wasn't horrible, but I don't think it should have been done. Because the fact is, why in the world would you have Asuka being torn to go and save Kairi for a championship match? People are saying, well, that makes her look stupid. I will humbly agree that kind of makes Asuka look a bit dumb to go out and save her friend when her friend is capable of fighting for herself. I wish that was done after Asuka won. Or if Asuka did keep the title or did get the title back, because let's be real, the title was hers from the very beginning. So the entire setup for this was kind of poor, but I digress. If they honestly decided to give Asuka the championship, why didn't they have that happen after the match? Why did that have to be a deterrent? That's the only thing that bothers me about that is the finish. It should have been clean. It should have been no interruptions. It should have been no breaks. It should have just been clean. But the fact that Sasha has it, I'm okay with it. And not just because I am a fan of hers. It is the fact that I do believe that this did not make Asuka look bad. This made both women look good. And that's the important thing of this overall match, is that both women look good. The fact that you got fired in Asuka because of what happened to Kairi, she's going to pursue that belt and pretty much beat up everybody she can to get there. That is an interesting story in itself. Did the finish make Asuka look dumb? Yes. But not entirely. When it comes to Sasha pretty much makes any match look good, any person look good, regardless. Like, if she doesn't even win, she looks good regardless. And I'm not saying this because I'm a fan of hers. I'm saying it because it's been proven to be true. But the thing is, with her and Bayley being a 2-woman power trip, I think it's gonna really bring some eyes on those belts. Because the SmackDown Women's Championship has been ignored for a very long time. And yeah, people are like, well, it's because of Bayley. No, Bayley's becoming a relevant heel now. She's becoming a very relevant heel to where people are paying attention to her. She's putting eyes on that title. With the tag titles, that was the one thing that Sasha and Bayley wanted to do in the beginning. They wanted to actually not only put eyes on the title, but bring some credibility to it. And they're doing that now. And now that you got Sasha that actually is the Raw Women's Champion, we all know that Sasha is the hottest ticket out there. She's putting eyes on the belt now. The 2-woman power trip is going to work wonders on that belt. It's going to work wonders on all those belts. On the SmackDown Women's Championship, on the Raw Women's Championship, and on the Women's Tag. It is going to put eyes on that. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're supposed to do. I'm hoping that a lot more women are going to pursue them for that title. Women that need to be there. Not Nia Jax. But I digress. That's another video in itself. But I am happy for the 2-woman power trip because these are 2 women that have not only earned their worth over the years, these women are bringing some credibility to those belts. Now, I'm really hoping that there are not just going to be single stars going after them. I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing some more tag teams down the line. Because we need more tag teams in the women's division. We need more tag teams to fight for those belts. That is what I'm hoping will happen. That them having the tag titles as well as the singles titles is going to beef up that division. Because Lord knows they need it.